What's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here, GuitarJams.com, and I'm going to show you kind of some more modal approaches, but this one's actually really fun, really cool. Not too hard, but you should be a little experienced with some soloing ideas. But basically, what this does is it actually changes keys in the middle of the solo, but it's only two different scales. So we're going to zoom in. I'm going to kind of show you just some basic approaches on what you can do and how maybe I would think about it, or even someone like Garcia might might have worked on this at some point. Let's see. Oh, also all the modal and solo techniques. I have lesson programs that are all designed, and they're all at GuitarJams.com. You can click the link below and go right to the site. You can even try the lessons on there for free for 3 days. It's kind of fun, and lots of info on there. But let's get to this lesson right now. Here we go. And so here's what we're going to improvise over. And I'll play a jam track for you at the end of this video. We'll play the E major 7. There's a lot of different ways to voice that. And then the second chord is B minor, or B minor 7. Okay, now modes, there's all these fancy names, and basically they all come from that do re mi scale. So this E major 7 chord, and almost all the time, especially in rock music, unless it's Steve Vai, he plays the Lydian scale over major 7, and actually a lot of shred guys do that, so take that back. But anyway, in this setting we're going to play the E major scale over that E major 7 chord, and over the B minor chord we're going to play the B Dorian scale, which actually comes and shares all the same notes as the A major scale. And so that's what I'm saying. Every fancy name like Dorian and Phrygian and Mixolydian and all that, they're all actually the major scale, but with one of their different tones as the tonal center. So it's like you're kind of shifting something on its side and looking at it differently. But so the modes are really cool when you dive deeper into them, because if you know all the shapes of the major scale, then you actually know all the modes and all the mode shapes. So, and I said before, it's all at the site, so you can check that out. So whatever you miss here, you can always dig deeper in later. But I'll give you some practical things to do. All right, the E major 7 chord. I said the E major scale. Let's start right here. Just keep it right in the same position as the chord, because then we can kind of also see we already got 4 notes that are going to be really good, really strong notes to improvise over that, so that's something good to keep in mind. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to loop that chord. Okay, so that chord is looping right now. Watch, if I just play those scale tones. So that would be kind of like, some target notes that you could kind of look at over that. So the next thing that I want to do is play the whole scale, just show you the whole scale. But we're going to start with where the root is, and the root is the E note, and it's the 7th fret of the A string. So it's like this. Then you shift right here That note's in there too. And then you also have whatever you have on the high E, you have on the low E. And so we're playing E as the root, but some guitar players out there might have said, wait, isn't that B Mixolydian? The difference between the E major scale and B Mixolydian is what the root is and what you're playing it over, but the shape itself is the exact same thing. So that means that B Mixolydian shares all the same notes as the E major scale. That could also mean lots of other things. So anyway, the shape itself. Notice I set myself up with my pinky right there. There's going to be different instances where you're setting your fingers up to be able to flow, but okay, so that's the E major scale right there in that position. The other thing is the E major 7 chord, like we did this. Just so we could kind of see the strongest notes of that chord there. We also want to do what's called the E major 7 arpeggio in this position. And it's only notes from that scale that I just showed you. So here it is. You got the root, and you also have that right there, which is actually called the 7, the major 7. Okay? Then you have 6, 9 on the D string. Then you have that, which is the 8, 9 on the G. That's part of it too. See that? So like an arpeggio, you can try and build little sequences off of it. So if the arpeggio is, you know, you could like, or, oops, sorry. Those are only notes in that arpeggio. Check it out. Now the scale. And some of that arpeggio again. Scale tones, arpeggio, so using that arpeggio and then experimenting, toying off of it by knowing those scale tones. That's another thing. Now check this out. Let's talk about the second chord now. Because what you're going to have to do is when you hear that next chord, you're going to have to switch scales or switch keys. And I said it's the B Dorian scale, which is actually the second mode of the A major scale. So it's all the same notes as the A major scale. So if you knew all the positions of the A major scale, you could play the B note of that scale as the root, and you're playing B Dorian. And that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do, since we're already in this position, we, learned a couple little devices there. When we switch to that B minor, what I really want, I think the best thing is to see your minor pentatonic scale right there. And then the half steps to make that what's called B Dorian are right here. The A string's the exact same, but then you have that note right there, and the same thing on the G string. Blue scale. The Dorian, half steps. And then on the B and the high E string, you've got a real comfortable, actually, kind of Chuck Berry spot here. Instead of, you just always have the half steps right there and right there. Okay, and